Hello and welcome to another episode of App Smash, where every week we take what we think is the coolest app of the week and break down their success story. And I personally like to look at the growth stage and how they started and reverse engineer and share any insights with you guys in the audience. My name is Darius and I'm here with my co-host.
Moyo?
And this week we have Starla, the astrology app that recently went viral on TikTok. But I guess we can just dive straight into it.
Let's go for it.
All right,
So
I'm going to share my screen.
what's the backstory of Starla?
So Starla, I actually don't even know how I found them originally because they were not like, tops of the ranks. Last episode we talked about the focus friend. They were number one, so it's easy to see. Before then we had the T app. And I kind of just stumbled upon them when I was doing my regular daily research. And I really liked their strategy. So what caught my attention is I'm going to jump straight into the revenue estimates. You can see they launched on June 8th. So that's what, like 2 months ago ish, a bit more. And immediately on launch, they were doing, well, $1,000 in the first day. But within a couple of days, they're doing $124,000 a day, 127, 132. And it's gone
Crazy.
down since then. But they're still doing, 30K a day. So that's
Yeah.
still, 100K a month. And yeah, here at the top, aggressive. So since launch, estimated
That,
revenue,
that
3
that's a
million.
that's 1,000K a month.
Yeah, that is uh, wild. Obviously, this is app tweak revenue estimates. We don't know for sure, but it's
Right.
directionally correct. We find it to be more or less correct. Yeah, it's kind of stabilized, so 10K a day now, which, in August is really good because people tend to be on vacations and they spend more time offline away from their phones. Um, but yeah, I saw this and I thought, like, I have to find out how they did this.
Yeah.
And my first research was like, okay, let me check ads, but they do no ads on Meta, um, none at all, or I couldn't find a company name that would do ads on Meta. And their own TikTok account has zero posts. They do have like 10,000 followers, but not a single post. And so I went deeper, and then I found out, and I'm going to show you. I went to TikTok, I put in Starla, and then I see a lot of content in Starla, about Starla in TikTok. And I thought this was just like organic content and just people posting about it. They do have this feature where the app draws your soulmate for you. So it's an astrology app, and this is one of the features, and that's the one that seemed to be the most talked about. And so I went in and I checked out this creator just as an example. Her name is Kate on TikTok. And when I go in, I noticed that like every single video, I mean, these are all the same videos basically, every single video was about the app. And so she's like, oh, my college professor, blah, blah. And then he looks like the soulmate on the app drawing. And I was like, okay, so these guys are just paying these influencers a lot of money to post every day. But I also thought it was interesting because she's like a micro influencer because she only has 1,000 followers. But when I went through all of the content, I noticed that the very first video was posted on 1st of June, or not 1st of June, here, 18th of June. So just about the same time that they launched and they started to
Yeah.
go viral. And then I looked at all the other accounts that I saw on top TikTok, and they all started around the same time, like mid
Yeah.
June. All of these accounts were created. So it looks like the strategy was that Starla paid all of these creators to create new accounts and post about the app every day. And the videos are the same. So like this style of content of, I don't know, like these videos, like my mom's boyfriend looks like my soulmate from Starla. The other creators will have the exact same content. So it looks like
Sure.
Starla like directed the content strategy, told the creators what to make, and then they just made it. And this is the machine. What we don't know is how many creators they got and how much they paid them, but obviously it resulted in that like 3 million in revenue. What do you think about
Yeah.
this? I've never seen it like this.
So I think yeah, it's amazing. To me, it actually reminds me of, it's kind of like the modern day remix of the strategy that you guys used to run at Reflectly. You know what I mean? And I actually know a lot of people that run this strategy. I'm part of an app group of like people focused on, growing with TikTok. I haven't implemented any of it today, but there are a lot of people doing this, and so what they'll do is usually hire at least 4 or 5 creators, and initially the main job is to just find a content format that's going to work. So oftentimes what they'll do is look around. They'll try to just mine TikTok, or some people even use Instagram as well. It looks like these guys are only on TikTok, um, but they'll start just typing stuff in that has to do with their niche. Maybe follow a few people. You'll start a brand new account, right? And then on that account, you'll just try to look as much as you can like somebody that would use your app, right? And so you do that by following creators who create in the space. And TikTok is pretty on it. So once you follow 1 or 2 of them, or watch a couple minutes of their content, they're gonna flood your feed with the same type of stuff. So they'll start going through and following for a few weeks and just seeing um, which types of posts are overrepresented, and try to break down what is making them go viral all the time. And once they have a content, they'll try to reproduce the format either by themselves, or giving it to a creator. And once they have something that works, then they'll literally post it every single day until it doesn't work. And they'll post, some people will, there are a few ways to do it, right? So they might post it across all accounts that they own. They might have creators post it on accounts that the creator, they post it on their original account. That can work as well. Some people try to go for, like, I think the Cali AI team tends to use creators who are more established and have larger audiences within that space. That can work, but there are a lot of people who like to avoid that and try to pay a lot less and just try to find people. The real criteria is you don't need a big audience, but you do need to know how to make good content. Um, so they'll find those people, then they give them the format, and they'll just have them do it. And off, I think what a lot of people will do is they'll have a group of them, and they'll figure out who is performing the best. They'll bonus them. Some people actually like to make their payment structure essentially all commission, like all or all view bonuses. If sometimes if you have the better creators, or the more creators who are already doing this and already kind of like set up, and they've already had a lot of virality, they're probably going to earn a base salary and a bonus, right? But um, I think for most people, they want to have some type of incentive as part of that, to just give them the incentive to want to go viral, right? Or to want to figure out how to go viral, and to perform their best. But um, it's working pretty well for a lot of apps, but not every app. It's like, you have to imagine, you have to have the type of thing that people are going to want to talk. Just because you create the content doesn't mean people want to watch it. And you can have as many influencers post as you want, but if the content is not going anywhere, it's just not going to matter. So like the playbook they're running, I've definitely seen it. It definitely it's powerful. It works. People are doing it. Most of the people that are doing it are like between, I want to say like 16 and let's say 16 and 25 years old, and stuff like that. And a lot of these folks that we've talked about before, that are coming over from direct to consumer, they just figured out, okay, we can do all the same type of stuff that was working for TikTok Shop, but let's, well, it's still working for TikTok Shop, but it's a better class of products to be working with, to have a subscription app. So there are a lot of those folks just doing really, really, really well in the app space right now, doing this kind of playbook.
Yeah, and at Reflectly, I've tried both strategies. Like we would try really big influencers, people with millions of followers, and we would do like a few posts through them, but that never seemed to work for us.
Yeah.
And you just like if you like when you buy one or three posts, you just don't know how well they're gonna do. Like, and the
Yeah.
creator can do their best, but if it's just seems like slightly out of their usual topic or they're clearly promoting something, it's just not gonna get the views.
Right. Right.
So the strategy that worked for us back then, I would do micro influencers at scale, but actually I didn't care about the distribution of the micro influencers. Like back then, that didn't matter. That never gave me anything. It was just a way to get the content, and then I would run it as ads on
Right.
Meta and
Right. Right.
TikTok, and so it was a content generation machine. Now with
Yes.
AI, you can generate content, infinite content for almost no money. So you don't need to do that anymore. But that was like the reason for Reflectly Scale is because I just had hundreds and hundreds of videos from micro influencers, and this was a way to outsource creativity. So that's
Yeah.
how it worked because I couldn't like design the good videos. But here, these brands are doing it just posting on TikTok, and you get the distribution. Now the big difference, and I have here while you were talking, I was recording YouTube, Instagram as well, where there's this one account that's just posting all of the videos that looks like to be all of the Starla creators. So like just a bunch of videos from her, and the next one, it's all the same as this one, I think.
Yeah.
And then another one, and another one. So it's just all the Starla creators, and it's
S-
what 9 videos from each.
So I'll add to it that some of these folks will use reposting accounts or reposting networks to amplify their content, and it's kind of a way of doing what you were doing with ads, but I guess taking more ownership over the process, right? Because
Yeah.
they can kind of decide how many they can have tighter control over how many impressions they're going to get per day, per week, per month. It's just how many accounts are we going to post across. They kind of know within a range how many impressions each video is going to get. So it takes a while for them to dial it in, but there are people that feel that for some types of content and for certain products that just gives them more ability to control their own destiny than spending on Meta straight up.
Yeah.
And I think it also tends to be cheaper, but the conversion can also differ. So all this stuff definitely has nuances. It's fun to talk about, but then there's just a lot of nitty gritty in the implementation.
Yeah, and something I used to talk about back in the day was, we all know the concept of product market fit. For
Yeah,
me, what was more important and has been more important, even to this day, is what I call a product channel fit.
yeah,
Like some
yeah.
products just work, like TikTok is a very specific culture, and some products work really, really well on TikTok. Clearly, Starla is doing really well on TikTok. So I think that's a really good like product channel fit. And even like if you go even deeper, I would think about it as feature channel fit. So the reason why Calm became a $1 billion company is because they found sleep stories. So that was the number
Yeah.
one feature. So actually, people didn't want to like most people didn't use Calm for meditations. They used it for the sleep stories back then. When they created that feature, that was like a big hit. And Instagram story ads just became available as advertising.
Right.
This was years back, and these two things connected, and it was the right feature with the right channel, which created like the huge boom in Calm's growth to get him to $1 billion company. And I think this is the same thing that we see here. There's a specific feature, which is the soul, because the app is like a full astrology app. There's a lot of stuff, but the soulmate feature is like the main feature. So that's the feature, and the channel clearly is on TikTok. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm thinking even deeper now when we make products, and my favorite method has been the trending keyword method. So it's like the you built the right app, and then the channel is your organic growth
Yep.
through the app store. But this is another way to think about feature channel fit. And I started to also brainstorm in my head like what app could we build and what features could we release that are going to work really well on TikTok. And I was chatting with ChatGPT and giving a bunch of ideas. One of them was to do also an astrology app where you get an image of the past, like yourself in your past life.
Yeah.
And so that's the image that it would generate. But like, it needs to be visual for TikTok to work well. And you could have the same, kind of method. it's not as catchy as this like romantic, you
Right,
know,
right.
my mom's boyfriend kind of thing. My soulmate drawing. There's something about yeah the romantic aspect of it, which is what makes it very catchy and interesting.
Yeah. So, do you know how popular astrology is?
And, I mean, I know it's very popular. I don't know how popular.
Okay. So, one I can't remember when and where I learned this, but in the U.S., like one third of American adult women are very into astrology. I forget what the metric was, but I heard that, and I I just never thought about it. I never expected it. Like that's a huge number. So it's like when you see this product or products like it. So in this category, as I was looking up Starla, if you search for Starla, I think right underneath Starla you'll see a product called Astro, and they're doing about 60,000 downloads a month right now, making 80,000 in revenue. Starla is doing like I think 700,000 downloads, 900,000 in revenue. Again, directional, take it for what it's worth. And then underneath Astro was Astra.
Yep.
Same. These are like copy paste product. They all have the same black and white icon, same type of font, same soulmate thing, same astrology. But so Astra is also like 700,000 downloads per month. Not yeah, you see what I'm talking about, right? And I'm sure that there are more of these as well. And I remember seeing a product a while back called I think it was just called Astrology, and it was absolutely killing it. But this is one of those it's kind of a shame because it's like one of those categories that I don't really want to do, but it's one of those categories that that really there's always a hungry audience for it. People can't get enough of it, and they're able to combine. Now you have astrology plus AI, right? So I think that that's how this product kind of came about. Just thinking about, okay, astrology is an amazing category that would obviously work well in a social context. But now, what happens when we bring like mass personalization and throw that all in the soup, right? And I think that that's kind of how this product was born, right? Like we talk a lot about Cal AI so far. I think they get a cameo on every episode, but that product was looking at things like MyFitnessPal and saying, okay, what happens when we bring AI into that soup, right? And so I think that that kind of like thinking or process can probably be applied to a ton of different categories that may not have even been covered yet. So I think that that's kind of like another angle on this story here. What do you think about that?
No, absolutely. So, I mean, I've been looking at the astrology category for some time. I think Pattern, for me, Pattern is like one of the OGs in the space. They've been around for a very long time, and you see they're doing about 500,000 a month, um, which is good. Um, but
It's
when we
not
look
bad.
at, it's not bad, exactly. And Astra was doing the same, but notice that when let's put this into days, they also just started to go so viral. And last month they did 1.2 million. And I
Yeah,
think it's because of this trend that Starla created on TikTok about soulmate drawing. And so
yeah,
one I wanted to share that I looked at some of the keywords and soulmate drawing is currently 39 in popularity. And the trend is super clear. It was nowhere and now it's 39, which is a great search volume. And when we go into the live, we can see Astro number one, Astra number one, number two. So yeah, Astra is older, a lot more reviews. This one looks like, and they just copied everything basically.
yeah. It's like the
Notice,
same screenshots. It might be the same dude.
yeah, the smart thing is that they're running an event, and the image of the event is this drawing because everybody knows the drawing from TikTok. So the
Yeah,
smart marketing thing is to like throw that up in your face. They're using it here, but this is like much bigger. It catches your attention right away,
for
which is maybe
sure.
why they rank number one instead of this much bigger app. It's number two. And so when we look at these guys, I think they launched fairly recently. Yeah, so they launched
Wow.
June 16th,
Yeah.
and they did, yeah, 58 and 40K last month. So I think it's just some dude like really quickly built the app, put in the keywords, like your soulmate drawing is in there. And now I scrolled through, now there's so many apps using soulmate drawing,
Yeah.
soulmate
Yeah.
sketching, all of them. But like all of them have a lot of ratings. I think they all make some kind of money. That's the
No,
crazy part.
that's pretty amazing.
So what you were saying is that you didn't know how popular astrology was. I spent 3 months in Bali this year, and I think that 100% of women were into astrology in Bali. That was like the main topic there. So I definitely believe that it's very popular in the
It
US as
is.
well.
It's
One thing I wanted
extremely
to
popular.
One thing I wanted to show that was funny when I was preparing for this episode, I just opened LinkedIn and this was the first post there. I wasn't looking for Starla, but the
Yeah.
first post was this dude sharing like my first. He's talking about his app got approved, whatever. But I was like, dude, you're completely trying to steal the name Stellar AI Sketch Soulmates.
Hey.
I was gonna comment and be like, bro, I think you're like, you want to talk about that? But that was funny. They just popped up on my LinkedIn as I was getting ready for this.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I think Pattern is the OG, but yeah, they're doing like 500,000 a month, and it looks like they did not jump on the soulmate drawing trend, but they've been around
Hmm.
for a very long time. At least I live in Europe. A lot of women here are into astrology, and they all use Pattern. That's the one that I know about.
It's pretty interesting that that app is only rated a 3.7.
This one, yeah,
Yeah, but
people don't like.
it's still surviving. It's
I
not
would
a
suspect that most people are complaining about like pricing. You have to pay for it. They did do like a big redesign. But yeah, you're right. For a big app that does 500,000 a month, you usually
yeah.
see something at four and a half.
It's usually at least four at a minimum, and usually more like four and a half. So that's interesting, but they still are doing quite fine. So um,
Yeah. So Starla called the universe. So Astro is number two, Astra number three. So this guy ranking number two for all their keywords. You know when this makes me think of when we were
Delio.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
I
Daily.
heard you talk about that, but yeah,
At
talk
Re-
about it.
yeah, at Reflectly. So I was the one doing all the marketing and so I was the one spending all the money on ads and we spent a ton of money on Meta ads, TikTok ads,
How
all
much
the
did
advertising.
you spend, by the way? Like ballpark.
Like 6 figures a month on advertising every month.
Nice,
Not every month, but
nice.
like, yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars on advertising, which was crazy because and this is another aspect is that during the hyper growth phase of Reflectly, I was the first employee. So there was 3 founders originally. I joined as the first employee. I got super lucky with the timing because I joined, and like 2 weeks later, it was a free product, and 2 weeks later we put on a paywall. And so like I joined and the revenue just goes like up through the roof, off the charts. I just got lucky when I joined at the right time. But when we're doing all of this, we were still just 4 people in the company. So
Yeah,
we had the CEO, one front end developer, one back end developer, and myself on the marketing. And we did the micro influencer strategy that I always talk about. And like that was the first like 2 years of the company, and we scaled to like the first 5 million users this
wow.
way. And yeah, so I was spending all this money on marketing, a lot of ads on Meta, a lot of ads on TikTok. And there was a company that popped up called Dalio, which was a very similar icon, the same concept, a journal, simple journal where you use just a few buttons to journal. Um, Very, very, very similar icon. And it turns out it was actually two dudes from Slovakia, which I thought was funny
Yeah,
because I'm from Slovakia and I don't know anybody in the world in the app space from Slovakia. But these two dudes were from there and then they built a pretty good product. I mean, hands down, they built a great product, but they
yeah.
spent no money on advertising. And they just back then through ASO, they managed to rank number two for every single keyword where we're number one. So we're number one for journal, they're number two, all these
Right, right,
keywords, and
right.
they got all this like secondhand traffic. And it was pissing me off because I was like, dude, I'm paying for your fucking growth. But of course, they deserved it. They were clever. We
Yeah.
tried acquiring them, but they knew what they had on their hands. And also, it was an amazing business. Like back then, they were doing 30K a month in profit. And it's like it's two dudes living in Eastern Europe, and you just like take home 15K per person. You know, that's a great life. What is
Yeah.
interesting is that since then, I left Reflectly. Reflectly basically tanked. It
I
does
saw.
like pretty much zero, which is shocking to me. And what is even more interesting is that Dalio is
They
now
went
doing
up.
100K a month.
Yeah. They went
They're
up.
still, they're still not running ads, I don't think, and it's still a small team, and they did an incredible job. So it really goes to show that if you are, it's like this is what I call the cockroach strategy. Like if you just survive long enough, you can make it to some interesting stuff.
Yeah, and I think even if you are scaling with ads, I think it's always a great thing if you're also getting some of that organic love. You know what I mean? Um, but for them, it's like, yeah, since they do have all those ranks and they're not spending any money, it's a durable, very durable business. I guess the bad side of it is they can't really ramp it up or anything. Like they're kind of at the whims of Apple, and if something happens there, then that could be an issue. But um, hey, it's it's worked out quite well for them.
Yeah, exactly. And like it is a bit of a, I mean, I have a lot of friends in the app business, as I'm sure you have,
Yeah,
and there's like the two camps. Like some people make it work organically, and some people make it work with ads. And if you make it work with organically, it's great because you get all the profit. Like you don't have to pay for ads, but you are at the whims of the algorithm gods. Like if Apple
for
decides to
sure.
change the algorithm tomorrow, your ranking goes to shits, your business goes to shits, and like your entire business is like hanging on a tiny thread. And I know these founders, and for them, I don't think they have a very good quality of sleep because it's a tough place to be. And but I at the same time, I know people who've done that for a decade now. So
Yeah,
you could do it, long term, but you just have to kind of like psychologically prepare yourself. And I do feel like with running ads, you can have more control. You can always, advertising always works, and once you get good at it, you can always spend more money to like. There's you can have distribution across different channels. So if one channel doesn't work, you can put it on another channel, and that feels like more stable. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
these guys like Delio, they're two dudes. They're doing 100K a month in profit. If they don't run any ads, if they have no other team, which I don't think they do, then it's 50K a month of profit.
Yeah,
Just like
that's
sit there and collect, and you're all good.
50K. I'm sure that goes a long way in Slovakia, like that,
Yeah,
or anywhere for that matter. That's a good amount of money.
exactly. And they've been doing that for like 7 years, right? So
Yeah,
if you're clever with the money, that's enough to retire on. Like you're all good.
for sure, for sure.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I think the biggest takeaway I wanted to get from this episode is that Starla became huge by paying influencers to create new accounts and post every single day. That is what seems to be the strategy that's worked. And as always on the App Store, there is not much defense mechanism, so clones will pop up immediately, but they're still doing quite well. It's very early for all these apps, so I'm curious to continue watching. As we're talking, I'm scrolling on the keyword Starla on the App Store, and like I see this keyword of
Endless clones.
endless clones, like soulmate draw, draw your soulmate, soulmate drawing. I'm in like number 20, and I see this keyword. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
But that's life on the App Store.
yeah,
Do you have any
for
other
sure.
takeaways that you want to mention before we close off?
I guess similarly, the what's going on with well, I'll say this. I'll put it this way. So I think TikTok really changed the game with the way that their algorithm works, and it's made it so that it's really the content that matters more than the size of the account. And so that's enabled people to run strategies like this because, when we were talking, when we're living in an Instagram based world, and now Instagram is trying to behave more like TikTok, but in the original Instagram type world, Instagram operated more like an email list. So it's like the size of your response is going to be more proportional to the size of the account. Now that's all flipped on its head, and it's just like if you can make content that people want to see, then you really have a chance to go viral. And it's like the person can literally get on there and their account can be a couple days old, and they can just say something. And for people who don't know, the way that TikTok works is it will take your post and first put it in front of about 200 accounts and see, okay, how long are these people staying on this? Are they clicking on it? Are they engaged? And if they are, it might show it to 400, and then just keep doubling like that every hour, assuming that it's still getting the right signal. So it just enables these like tidal wave type of things. And then, God forbid you have an account like a Hank Green out there with 10 million followers. Oh, well, I guess that calls back to the previous episode. But um, if you're getting signal on that type of account, oh my, then you go number one in the App Store. And that's what I have for you today. Oh, is that me?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can.
No,
Oh,
I was
okay.
muted. Yeah, that is the crucial distinction is that on Instagram you post to your followers. On TikTok, you will post to a random group of people.
Yeah,
And if they engage, it goes to a bigger and bigger circle of people. And I've seen accounts that like new account, first video, million views, bam, like this happens.
crazy. It's
I've done a lot
crazy.
of time researching TikTok. I'm pretty sure if you go to Udemy and look up TikTok, my course is still the number one, but it's a very old course from 5 years ago. But I think it's
Probably
still
still
the
relevant.
I think it's still the
I
best
think I
one.
watched it when you. I watched it back then. So
Yeah, back then it was fresh, now it's old. But yeah, like that's what I was teaching. Like the essential difference is that is and that's why TikTok is so much more creative place, I think, than Instagram, because people really experiment with whatever. It's not about looking pretty for your followers. You can get engagement and you can get views by just being creative. So it is all about the content.
yeah, and I think another cool thing about it is just that it's enabled all of these just different pockets of content that made like a bunch of weird stuff. If you're into like squid hockey, it's gonna find the 3,600 people in the world who love squid hockey, right? And that was never possible before. So yeah,
You can go very very niche and still get decent exposure.
yeah, for sure,
Sure.
for sure.
All right, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much. For next week, I guess we haven't figured out what's the app next week, but
No,
whatever
not
it's going
yet.
to be, it'll be something that's very trending and popular and exciting, and we will reverse engineer their success. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it.